Yes, the ease of doing business is not a static, it's a very dynamic one, and it depends on. It doesn't depend on only what you do, but what others are doing. So you would see that there are some countries that are reforming faster than we are, who are doing market reforms faster than we are. There are about 14, 17 parameters that they look at to rate and scale you, and depending on the number of reforms you do, then you get the points to move up. But it's not even just as simple as that, because the reforms really are tested by the private sector. So when a government institutes some reform, it's tested by the private sector. It's the responses that the private sector gives that are taken into account. So if you do a policy and the private business sector doesn't feel any impact, it really doesn't count. So there are quite a number of things that go into it. And in this time, we saw that quite a number of countries, like Togo, which moved up 40 points, had done quite a number of significant reforms, and much quicker than we have. We did some reforms, but others did more and quicker than we did. So we dropped and they went up. Even Nigeria did some reforms, but they are still lower than we are. Togo moved from 137 to 97. We are still below 100. So that's how it really works. And it's something that you have to constantly do. So next year, we'll be measured again. If we do 10 reforms next year, chances are that we would really jump up, and if nobody does 10 below us, then we'll be sure to see Ghana move further up.
Which areas are you targeting to do these reforms?
There are a lot of market reforms that we are looking at that would make it easier for the business person to engage. And it's just not about, foreign direct investment. It's also indigenous people, because the interviews are actually done with indigenous businesses. So they must feel the reform working. We've done some other ports. There's some we've done a new companies code. There are some about opening and closing a business, the ease of having electricity, the ease of banking. So there are quite a number of them that we have to work through. We've done some. We just missed the cutoff for this year by a number, which will reflect next year's ranking. So the reforms are going on. There is a committee at the Ministry of Trade which is spearheading this, and we have some of them are big challenges. For example, the land tenure laws and how reforming our land tenure system is a major reform, because over the past we've seen duplications of registrations. We've seen litigation go on for lands for 30, 40 years. All these need to be resolved to get the proper address. But